Hey guys, my name is Megan and today we've got some romance recommendations with characters over 40 for you. Alright, so today we're talking all about some of my favorite romances with characters over 40, so let's go ahead and just dive right in. Alright, so first up I have Halo. This is one of my favorite Ian Lindsey books, and I think this series in general is probably something that is a must read. Alright, so this is kind of like a Pretty Woman situation, except it's gay, and it's so sweet. This is following a character who is over 40 who also has cerebral palsy. He is going on what should have been his honeymoon alone because he found his fiancée cheating on him with his best friend, and it ruined so many relationships. He ends up going on what would have been his honeymoon by himself, and while he is on his honeymoon, he happens to meet a sex worker who is just trying to make some money to pay off his college debts and get into a teaching program, and they kind of have a mistaken identity, meet cute, but then as soon as they realize that, they got things mixed up and wires crossed and things, they realize that they kind of actually like each other. So the guy who's on his honeymoon ends up hiring him to hang out with him for the rest of the week that he is there on his honeymoon, and they just hang out and go to museums and go stargazing, and they realize that they really, really, really like each other, and this is a fantastic book, and I would highly recommend if you're looking for a Pretty Woman retelling. It's fantastic. Next up we have the Elite Protection Services series. So let's see. So the series is following the Elite Protection Services guys as they are doing their bodyguard services or sometimes mercenary services. These guys ending up protecting somebody that they kind of have a connection with and instantly kind of fall in love. This one does have some kink representation in it, so please check trigger warnings before diving in. This is also a dark romance series, so I would definitely highly recommend checking trigger warnings before diving into this one. Next up I have At First Sight. This is I forget what the main character's name is. Anyway, she was going to get married to a doctor, and he broke off the engagement very suddenly after figuring out that he doesn't want to get married and having cold feet. And she had bought him a spite house, which is a house built on a very narrow lot to, spite the city building commission, taxes, any kind of number of things. And she ends up living next door to him because she bought this house so he could expand what would have been their house. And she ends up living next door to him, but also across the street from his brother, who is another doctor. And he is over 40, and they kind of have a spite war going on. She starts playing audiobooks very, very loudly from her windows because he's kind of the reason that they broke up in the first place. And it's them falling in love, but also dealing with depression and anxiety and figuring out what you're going to be doing for work after, having basically the rug ripped out from under you at the very last minute. And it's them falling in love, but also realizing that this is kind of a weird situation. But also, if you just characters being spitefully in love with each other, this is the one that I would highly recommend. Next up, I would also recommend, also from Olivia Dade, spoiler alert, this series is following actors on a TV show, and it is wrapping up its final season, and this one is following Marcus, who is one of the lead actors on this TV show, and it's also following April, who is a fan of the show, and she is a cosplayer who is plus size, and a photo of her goes viral for kind of the wrong reasons, and Marcus invites April out to dinner, and they kind of fall in love, only for Marcus to realize that they have been online best friends for years in this fandom for this TV show that Marcus is part of, and he's been a fanfiction writer, and so is she, and it's a little bit of a mess, but also it's them finding love later in life, but also it is a fat romance, and it's one that I would highly, highly recommend. And then the last one I would like to recommend is a holiday romance, and that is Let Your Hearts Be Light. This is one of my favorite Quin books. This is following two single dads, and their teenagers go to the same high school, and their high school is putting on a holiday, I'm not sure if it's a fundraiser or not, but it's pairing up families to do holiday things together so that there's holiday cheer in this tiny town, and they get paired together. They have a really bad meet cute, they don't get off on the right foot, and it's kind of them reluctantly hanging out together you know, for the kids. And it's them slowly realizing that, oh, I kind of like this person, and this one does deal with anxiety, depression, and like some PTSD as well. So check trigger warnings before diving into this one because it is a little bit heavy in places, but it's really, really sweet, and it's one of my favorite holiday romances. So those are some of my recommendations for romances with characters over 40. What are some of your guys' recommendations? Let me know down below. If you guys like this video, don't forget the like button. If you haven't already but would like to, go and hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to follow me on social media for more bookish stuff, check out the links down below. Alrighty, bye guys!